UTA is coming up soon, and if it's your first time running it this year, you probably have some questions like, how do I train for this thing? And with less than 12 weeks to go now until I'm doing the 50K, I'm really starting to ramp up my training. And so in today's video, I wanted to just share a bit about my training plan and hopefully help you a little bit with your training as well. Before getting into it too much, I did want to make a bit of a disclaimer and say that I'm obviously not an elite athlete or a running coach or anything like that. I'm really just a guy who's developed a bit of an obsession with ultra trail running. But I think that that's okay, because if you think that you can just start training like an elite athlete with piling on miles and then you'll be able to perform the same as an elite athlete, well,
it's not going to work.
UTA 50 is no joke. It's got a lot of technical trails, big climbs, and a lot of stairs. If you're coming from road running, there are a couple of things that you really need to keep in mind when you're training for something like this. One is to have real expectations, and two is to be careful about staying injury-free. The UTA 50 is very different from a road marathon, and unless you're an elite level marathon runner, you're going to be out there for a long time. If it's your first time, expect this race to take almost twice as long as a road marathon would take you. You'll need to manage things like your electrolytes, your pacing, those enormous hills, and while it can be tempting to just pile on more mileage, that can be a surefire way to get injured quickly, which is why strength training is so important. I've struggled with injuries for years, and if you're starting to ramp up your mileage, you're likely to face some setbacks too. That's why, especially for your first ultra, I highly recommend prioritizing strength training over more mileage. Strength training will help you to keep injury-free, and it'll make those brutal climbs a little bit easier. My approach is pretty simple. Identify weak points and focus on injury prevention. If you've had running injuries before, then start by addressing those first. And another key area for strength is your quads. There's a massive downhill at the second half of UTA 50, and I know that I definitely underestimated this the first time I did it, gunning it down that hill, and then my quads were absolutely wrecked for the rest of the race. So make sure to work out your quads too so that that doesn't happen to you. Now let's talk mileage. At the moment, I'm running 40 to 50 Ks each week, aiming for about 50 Ks this week. And the plan is to slowly build that up over about 10 weeks and then have a bit of a taper afterwards. Each week, I'm making sure to include one hill workout and one long hilly trail run. And beyond that, the structure kind of depends on the individual. You know, if you're used to the 50K distance, but you want to go a bit faster, then maybe add in a speed workout. But if you're new to the distance, then I would recommend just adding 2 to 3 easy runs per week and also 2 to 3 strength workouts per week. And if you're short on time or new to ultra trail running, I would definitely recommend prioritizing those strength workouts. So what should your whole training block look like? Well, Training for the Uphill Athlete recommends that your biggest 12 weeks should average about 50 kilometers per week, with your biggest week being between 80 and 88 kilometers. You want to try and get the total elevation gain for your race within 1 week of training, and you want to do that twice within those 12 weeks. Finally, I schedule a rest week every 4 weeks, which is where I'll cut my mileage back by 40 to 60%. This helps prevent burnout and can also help to just keep you progressing without injuring yourself. With all that in mind, this is the plan that I've come up with here. And it's really important to remember that actually implementing the plan is probably even more important than the plan itself. It's really tricky to know when to push through a workout or when you're actually going too hard and you should actually pull it back a bit. Really good implementation of an average plan is going to be a lot better than a subpar implementation of the best training plan in the world. So as planned, this week I did about 50 Ks of running with about 1200 meters of vertical. And obviously I plan to keep on ramping that up as per my training plan. I'm planning on doing a couple more videos related to UTA. So if it's your first time or you feel like you need some help preparing for it, then definitely stay tuned for some more stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.